Again, my name is Megan Maynard, and I'm an account manager here. So please reach out if you need any further information or you want to have your own personalized demo. You'll be hearing today from Stella Salom, our solutions architect, and Aaron Boyle, our marketing manager. So a little bit about us. Marquee 360 was founded by former Microsoft employees and industry leaders. Our team has 20 plus years in the industry, and our vision is to create a solution to drive growth and enhance your internal processes and operations. So to do that, we bring best practices to build on your efficiencies and overcome challenges, bringing productivity to your team and filling in any gaps on the Microsoft Power Platform, creating a smooth, easy to use product. So, okay, our core focuses and areas for success are number one, innovation. We take the Microsoft suite and accelerate it, filling in any gaps that may not be included on the Power Platform. And we take it to the next level to fine tune it to meet each customer's individual needs. We work side by side with Microsoft's technology team during their development, so our solutions are always kept up to date. Number two, our customer success and the long lasting relationships we build along the way are really key to us. We act as your trusted advisor and make sure to support you from start to finish. We understand that each customer has its own unique requirements, so we use our learned consultative best practices to design your solution around your own individual PMO needs. Lastly, we understand support is really, really important. So we assign a dedicated team to cover all areas of implementation, hypercare, and after launch support so that you're never left hanging. We're here for the life of our product. And again, our customer satisfaction is of the utmost importance. And again, before I pass this along the team, I want to encourage you guys to be interactive today and ask questions. I'm going to also put my email in the chat, so feel free to reach out as we would love to privately do some consultations to you on any of your current roadblocks and do a design demo around whatever your company's key focus is. And with that, I will hand it off to Aaron Boyle, our marketing guru.
Thanks, Megan. Like Megan said, I'm Erin Boyle, I'm the marketing manager here at Marquee 360, and I just wanted to go further into depth on what solutions we offer. Like Megan said, we work on the Microsoft 365 platform, extending those capabilities, and where our specialty really is in the project management space. So we take Project for the Web and built a pre-configured accelerator that gives you a little bit more out of the box, makes it more user-friendly, and brings everything together in one place. So your entire project lifecycle can be managed all in one place, whether you choose Teams or Project for the Web, you can do everything in each. So PPM 360 is our accelerator, and how it works is we use Project to give you your task management capabilities. So if you've seen Project for the Web, you'll be familiar with that. And then we use Power Apps to build out those capabilities, give you scoring, financials, timesheets, some things that don't come out of the box already. And you'll see a little bit more of the resource and time management specifically in this webinar today once Stella starts her demo. But there are other things that the solution can do. And then we bring it all together in Teams. So like I said, you can make those changes in Teams and Project for the Web, so you don't have to skip around from place to place. You can just do it all in Teams. And then we use Power Automate to give you some automated workflows in the background, approvals, schedule templates, and you'll see a little bit of that, a couple workflows in this webinar today. And then we do have Power BI report packs, so you don't have to configure any data. Those are built in and pull data for you and give you really pretty dashboards. And with that, with our product being built on the Power Platform, it gives us a lot of advantages as far as low code, no code, and changing things around and customizing for you. So a lot of the solutions that you'll see today from Stella can be customizable, to fit your organizational needs specifically. And then we can also break down our accelerator into pieces. So if you don't need the whole accelerator, you can just do, say you need some help with ideation and idea scoring, we could just use our intake app and implement that, and you can do it piecemeal so you're not having to onboard everything all at once. We're very conscious of just giving our customers exactly what they need and you guys not paying extra or having to develop anything extra that you don't need. And with that, I'll pass it over to Stella for the demo.
Hi, so we have a lot to cover today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So as Erin mentioned, we are going to be looking at the accelerator, Marquis accelerator for projects for the web. Resource management is a critical factor in the success of a project. Time management of those resources and therein your overall project are also a critical factor in the success of a project and maintaining project hours. Today, we're going to create a new project in PPM 360, which, as I said, is Marquis' version of the Microsoft Accelerator. And we're going to view how we can manage the resources and their time as they're assigned to tasks. So navigating to my projects here. We're also going to look at how resources can submit their time via our timesheets app for work completed on projects and how that time submitted can automatically be updated in the project. And then lastly, we'll look at some resource reports that automatically populate the data from PPM 360 and assist with making key project resource and time management decisions. If we have time at the end, we'll also look at a different timesheet app we have, which we call our model-driven timesheet app, which works directly in Project for the Web rather than working as a Canvas app that integrates with it. So as you can see here on my screen, we have multiple existing projects here, which we'll see later in our timesheets app as well. But we're going to go ahead and create a new project today. So I'm going to start by selecting new project. And we will name this one timesheet webinar. We'll go ahead and say we want our task this to start today. And let's say this project is going to run through December. I can say it's in the create stage or in the plan stage. And I can save. Now I do have other areas where I can fill out information about my project and submit status reports, for example. I also can, put some more information about the business case. So here I could describe some details about the project, maybe describe the business case here, and then provide a value statement here as well. I also have an area for financials, resources where we will build our resource team after our schedule, and then we have our tasks tab here. We also have these areas for risks, issues, changes, decisions, where we can log risks, issues, and changes. But today we'll be focusing on time and resource management. So let's go ahead and build my schedule. Okay, so now that I've made my tasks, I'm going to go ahead and out indent this, make this a subtask. Since this is a summary task, all the subtasks below it will need to be made a subtask for this one. So I'm going to push this out twice. Same thing here. This is going to be a summary task. So we'll want to push this out once. My subtasks underneath, I can hold down, and then I can push these out twice to make my summary task a summary task. Same thing here, summary task 3. We're going to push all of these out because they are subtasks. And then we also need to push this one out here. Now this one we only need to push out once, as this is going to be our milestone, which is indicative of 0-day duration, 0 effort hours. Now that I have my project schedule built, I'm going to go ahead and rearrange my columns here. So I'm going to want to have start, finish, effort. The quick look column does have a great purpose. If I go to task details here and, for example, add a note of some type or a checklist here, It's going to tell me here on this quick look that I have a note, and then I also have a checklist. And as I complete the checklist here, it'll tell me on my quick look column that I've completed 1 out of the 3 checklists. So this column does serve a purpose, but for today, I'm going to go ahead and hide it. Now, I want effort completed, effort remaining. Normally I put % complete, and then depends on. So we'll start by going ahead and saying that my first task is due to start on, let's say it started Monday this week. Now I can give this 8 hours. And I can say that this task will depend on the one before finishing. So 3, 4. This one will be on 5, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Now, as I said, this was a milestone, so I'm going to make this 0 days, 0 effort hours. Now, as we change the days here, we can make it longer, make some shorter. As we can see, it's going to affect the dates for the rest of our schedule. Now I'm going to go ahead and assign some hours for each of these. Now, if I assign a task here, let's say to Mia, for example, it's going to automatically give this task 8 hours. And same thing here. It has 2 days. So when I assign a task here, it's going to populate 16 hours. So are there any questions so far? Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and finish assigning the tasks here, which we'll see these tasks come up when we review the timesheet. So I'm going to go ahead and assign these to myself. So now that we have our new project and our project schedule, there are 2 ways that we can build our project team. One, as we assign resources to tasks in the schedule, it will automatically add members to our resource table in the resources tab here. So we can see that I added Mia, and if I refresh here, we can see her name that will pop up, and she'll automatically be given the role of a team member. It also populates the total hours of tasks that she has assigned in there, and as they're completed, it will update this as well. So if I were to go back to my tasks, and for example, mark one of these as complete, we can come back, refresh this table. Now I can also add people directly to my project team from the table, which we'll go ahead and do now. And we can give them specific roles as well. So for example, if I wanted to add to my project team, Jason, I could do so. And let's say I want to make him an analyst. Let's say I also want to add Aaron, and I'll make the customer relations. Now it's going to allow me to put start and finish, but as I assign her tasks, if any of the tasks are outside of these dates, it'll automatically adjust the start and finish date in the table here. As we can see here now, for Mia, my effort hours completed has updated now based on me marking the tasks that she has complete. I'm going to go ahead and add one more resource, and we'll make her a QA specialist. Now the value of this table here, and this can be completely customizable to where it can show, the resource manager owner or other information allocation method. But this is a good view here, so you can see a resource, on the team, the role that they play on the team, start and finish date, and then once again, as we assign resources here, they're going to continue adding to the table. So I'm going to go ahead and continue assigning tasks myself. And then I'll assign some to my team too, and we'll see how that populates the table. Now, as I'm assigning resources to tasks, you may ask, where do these resources come from? So it is synced with your AD. So as long as in their Active Directory, they'll be searchable here. I can also utilize the resources here from left-hand navigation to see my resources. And I can see here, these are the bookable resources available. I can add a new one simply by coming in here and selecting new, and then searching them from AD and give them a specific role. As I can see here, if I wanted to edit or look at my specific resource, let's say Akash, or for example, Mia, if I wanted to assign her a default role, I could do so by coming in here and looking for a specific role, such as QA specialist or team member. Now, although we do have a timesheet app, which can be modified to account for time off, we can also modify within project itself and create an area which Microsoft Accelerator doesn't currently have, but we have modified to include and can be modified to include a My Availability. So this is an area here where resources can come in and submit their time off. We'll see on the resource allocation report that for the availability heat map, how this time off will be taken into account, and it will reflect on there how much time they actually have based on that time off. So for example, if I'll be out of office this week for 2 days, then I'll be out for 16 hours. And then let's say I have some operational admin time outside of project work that equals about 10 hours. We'll see that this is going to update here once I save and close it. So it's telling me I already have a request submitted for February. So I'm going to go ahead and just submit it for March. So we can see here that the capacity, for example, once the workflow runs, it'll take 160 hours since there are 40 hours in a week. We do 4 weeks per month, 160 hours minus these two. So we can see here that the actual capacity for this resource in February is 145 hours based on the time off here. When I save and close this, and then come back in, we can see that it runs on a workflow that updates that every 3 hours, but we'll also see that that number will be updated here as well. So for the current month. So for the current month, it's February, and as we can see here, that is for 145, and the workflow has already run here to deduct my out of office time from 160. So here are my resources. Once again, we have a nice view here, title manager. Another thing to point out here is that this can be customized to sync with AD. So all the information provided, the title, phone number, and AD, a workflow can be set up to pull in the manager. And then this manager field can be customized to be the only one that can edit this monthly capacity or time off as well. So a lot of security modifications available there. So lastly, I wanted to touch on the assignments view. So if we have multiple resources assigned to a task, so let's say, for example, this one down here, if I wanted to assign it to Mia and I also wanted to assign it to Jason, we can see that when I add Jason here, it doesn't increase the hours, although I can increase the hours. If we use our assignments view here, which is a new view provided by Microsoft, I can group my tasks by resource or by task. So for that task where I have those 2 resources here, I can see that even though it's 16 and Jason's on the task, it's giving all 16 hours to Mia. Now, if I wanted to break that up and divide it by day, I'd have to go to the date that this starts. So I would need to go to 3/8/3/7, sorry. And I can see here what's giving all the hours to Mia. Now, if I wanted to change that, I can simply do that here and give Jason those 8 hours. Now I can save this and update that in my timesheet as well. So now Jason should see 8 hours on his timesheet for this given week, and Mia will see 8 for this task for this given week. We also have our people view here, which is useful for resource and time management, where I can drag and drop tasks. So I can see here all my tasks have been assigned, but if I had any unassigned tasks, I could simply just drag and drop them, similar to Planner. Speaking of Planner, something I wanted to touch on is with Microsoft's newest integration coming next month, we will be doing another webinar to display once the release of Planner occurs. Project will be renamed to Planner and have full integration with Planner. So for example, if I'm a resource that has tasks assigned to me across multiple projects, then I can see all those tasks in one place utilizing that planner. So Erin can drop the date for that webinar in the chat, and make sure you join us back for that one to see the newest updates that we're all excited about. So now that we've created our project schedule and we've created our project schedule, assigned resources to our tasks, we looked at how resources can be managed and how time off can be submitted for resources as well. We looked at how you can assign multiple resources to tasks. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Jake, did you have a question?
Yeah. So when you submit time off in the timesheets, is there a way for you to know how much project time is left available?
Yes. Under effort remaining here, I can see that if I were to complete, for example, 4 hours, then this will update to 4 hours remaining. That answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, so now that we've looked at assigning tasks to resources, let's take a look at how these resources will submit their time via the Timesheets app. So here is our Timesheets app, and this is our Canvas app version. Utilizing our Timesheet app, I have a place for my resources to submit time for the tasks that I'm assigning to them, with new tasks added directly to your resources timesheet in real time. So we're going to take a look at the Timesheets app and submit some time for tasks completed, specifically for the tasks that we just created in our project. One thing I'd like to note about this app is that it works with Project for the web, but fortunately doesn't have the same license requirements. So with this Canvas app, your team members working on projects only need a Microsoft 365 license to access their tasks in projects to view them. And with the Planner integration, same, only the Microsoft 365 license where they'll be able to view them in one place. And no license is actually required for users to access this Canvas Timesheets app that we're looking at now, which once again works directly with the tasks in the project schedule and Project for the web. From the home screen, we can see the option to submit a new timesheet, view my timesheets, and view approvals, where I can view timesheets that have been submitted by my team for each week period. So let's start looking at new timesheets. So it's February 22nd, so it's going to give me tasks within this period. We can see here that I added this. This is from my other projects that I have, and this is the one that we just created in real time. We can see here each task name and the amount of hours that I have here assigned to me. Now, as I submit time for this task, for example, I put 2 hours, say I work 2 hours here and 4 hours here, it's going to update that remaining hours here. Upon submission and approval, it'll reflect back onto the project schedule as well. If I look through here, I can see some past ones that were submitted. For example, 96 hours. Is the remaining hours for this? Once again, let's say I worked 8 hours across the board here every single day. Another thing to note is that this is currently showing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but it can be changed to only show Saturday and Sunday. This app can also have a way to include time off. So on that gallery at the beginning of on the front homepage screen where we had new timesheet approvals, time off can also be added there. So users can submit time off. And then for that resource, let's say I had this date timed off and approved, it would block to where I couldn't even submit time for this task or couldn't be assigned tasks to this on the date that I've asked off for as well. Moving to the schedule here, let's look at these hours that we submitted for our current project, which was the timesheet resource webinar. We have tasks on task 1 and 2. We have submit change requests here, 9, 10, and 12. I see this project managers, and I can also add some comments too. So let's say I worked, I had needed to go over on hours. It lets me go over here, as you can see, and this remaining can be modified to show negative here. I can add a comment here that said needed additional time to complete the task. Once again, this also can even be modified to where the user wouldn't be able to even submit more hours than the amount of hours here as well. I can save this until I'm ready to submit. And now I can go into my timesheets. I can go to that same period that I was in. And I can submit this timesheet for this week. Now it's saying my timesheet has been submitted for approval. And as an approver, I can come here to the approvals and see the number of timesheets that I have pending approval. So for example, this week, I can see all of these have been submitted. And if I have multiple employees, I could look at here and filter by employee if I'm doing this for multiple people. Here I have the project name, and I have an area where I can scroll down if the project name is long. Once again, this can also be modified to where it's either wider or longer. I can either choose to approve or reject. I'm going to go ahead and approve this. Now we can see that all of those have been, tasks have gone away. So once again, approvals here, that's no longer showing my approvals, but when I go to my timesheets here, I can see that this changed from pending to submitted to approved. And when I look here, I can see everything that was approved from this timesheet. Once again, this would be the area where you would add an allocation if you wanted to do time off in this area. So any questions about the timesheet app? Okay. Oh, Jake, did you have a question?
Yeah. With the approvals, is there a way that you can make specific people approve your timesheet or
Yes.
no?
Yes. So that can be configured in any way possible, in any way you want. So for example, when we're looking at the resources here, if you wanted to make it to, for example, only whoever's listed as the manager here. So for example, myself, that's the only person that could be the resource manager. Or if you wanted to do like resource owners, for example, you could do owner here, owner. And then whoever set as the owner for this person can be the only person. So there are multiple ways, but yes, and that is actually by best practice. That is what I would recommend, is setting it up in a way to where when I go to approvals, I'm only approving for people who are the resources that I manage.
Okay.
Yeah. So that, amongst many other things, are one of the key requirements that we gather in creating this timesheet app. Once again, as from a color standpoint, it is purple, but it can be completely customized with your logo. It's saying welcome Stella because I'm the user here as well. It has the time because this is the current date and time. So this look and feel can be completely customized as well. So PPM 360 can include various reports for helping with project portfolio and resource management. Specifically, there are 2 resource reports and 2 timesheets reports we will look at to visualize how resource allocation can be determined. So starting with the timesheet apps here, as you can see, I can see time by project or time by project manager. So the difference here is that on this first column here, it's showing me the resource name, the project name, activity type, task name, and then the planned work, billable work, and rate. So the way that we would set this up is that in PPM 360, what we would do is we would add a rate. When I'm looking at my resources here, we would simply add a rate field here, which this report would then use when it's calculating the amount of hours for billable work. So it would take the billable work based off the timesheets and multiply it by that rate, whether it be configured within the app or within project for the web. We can also take the planned cost for the project by budget by configuring fields in the financials tab of project for the web. that talks about the cost. So for example, if I'm, a quarter into a project that has a budget of $250,000, then I shouldn't be I shouldn't be halfway into my budget. So things like this, how I'm using my resources, the amount of time using my resources, is a great way to track that budget. If I wanted to see by manager now, I could do time by manager. I could filter project owner name or the manager name for myself and see all my resources here and all of my projects to see how my billable work is compared to my actual work. Here we actually have actual total actual cost as well, which users could use this report to feed back to that field here for financials, for budget and actual cost. Now, remaining budget will be automatically calculated. So for example, if I do have $250,000 and my actual cost is I've used $250,000, then when I save this, my remaining budget will automatically tell me how much I have left. We also have timesheet trends here as well, which can be used to look at billable work, project work. And then we have timesheet compliance as well, which can include links that take me directly to the timesheet for each resource. This is good for PMO, so we can see here, for example, if timesheets aren't getting approved, we can see who hasn't approved them. So I can filter by status here too and say, show me timesheet statuses that are approved or in progress. And then I can know which resource managers need to get on top of their approvals. Any questions on the timesheet reports? Okay, so we also have 3 great resource reports here as well. Here I can see by my resource, project, and tasks. So for example, I can see, this is another way to view, for example, Erin, she is assigned to tasks across 2 different projects. These are the project names: start of the project, finish of the project, progress complete, effort of all the tasks she's assigned to. And if I uncollapse this one here, I can even see by the task name. So I can see when it's collapsed that there seems to be 1 late task associated with this project for Erin. When I expand it here, I can see which tasks those are. Using my filters here, I can do resource name and select only Erin's name if I want to see just Erin. And now I'm seeing just Erin here. As many of you probably know, Power BI reports are interactive. So for example, if I did not just have Erin, if I had everyone here, and I wanted to see specifically Stella Salom here, I can actually reset my filters. So if I wanted to see here by project, for example, this one, I could click on it and it will tell me for this project specifically. Now, my favorite report here is our resource availability report. This gives me information about FTE, which equals full-time equivalent. Although it is showing this availability heat map in FTE, the purpose of this and the value of it is to essentially show me that this resource right here for the month of November is over allocated by 1 FTE, meaning that she's about 160 hours over, and I need to hire someone full-time equivalent. Versus these is telling me about half, so maybe I could get a contractor to come in and help for these couple of months to assist with this work. These reports can also be shown in hours as well. So the way we looked at capacity, 160 hours, and then time off, this can also be shown to reflect hours instead of FTE as well, if you prefer to view hours. So it would say, for example, in this case, they're over allocated by 80 hours for the month of November. These reports can also be modified to show by role, which has shown to be very useful for customers. So for example, if I want to say, show me this role and all the resources in it, if I'm trying to find, if I know I'm starting a new project and it's going to need 3 specific roles, then I can modify this report to show me all the resources that have a specific role and see then from there which one has availability to do more work in the upcoming project. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have another timesheet app called the Model Driven app. In addition to our Canvas timesheet app. It lives directly within Project for the Web, which is right here. Now, as discussed, there are different licensing requirements around this type of app, but there are also many benefits. So it really depends on your specific situation on which app would be better for your team. As with the other app, this timesheet app is also extremely modifiable and can even be developed to account for time off as well, where resources can enter vacation or PTO time. So from this view here, which is completely customizable, as you can see here, we have other views like this that show me a little bit less information. This is my custom view here that I saved as my default. So anytime I come here, it's going to automatically show me this. I can add other columns that are important. For example, things like owner, status, modified on, comments even, and this is modifiable by the user. So if you have users that prefer different views than the default view you set for them, which is modifiable, then they can come in here and apply if they want to see comments here, for example. As you can see, I have an asterisk here. So what I can do is I can save as new view. I would simply save new view here. Save. And now it's going to tell me my view here. Stella's new view. I can also set this view as my default, regardless of what the system default is. I can manage and share views. Let's go ahead and delete that new view. Okay, so as we can see here, I have the time period, who the owner is, meaning who submitted the timesheet, whose time it's for, the timesheet manager, total hours for this period, when it was created, date and time, timesheet status, and who it was created by. Which, as we can see here, in this case, in this circumstance, it's the same as the owner, but may not be in all cases. So let's go ahead and submit a new timesheet. So for here, I can either select an existing time period or I can create my own. So let's go ahead and see if there's one already created for this week period, which there is. So we are on the 22nd, so that would be this week, but I'm going to go ahead and submit for last week. So let's go ahead and do 2/17 to 2/24. Now I'm going to go ahead and select myself as the manager here. Normally what would happen is you would have it configured to where resources are assigned to managers. So you can enter instead the bookable resource will be auto-selected on the current user, for example, and then the timesheet manager field will automatically populate based on whoever the owner is in the system for this, which can be set up and done once again in bookable resource. So for example, manager, we can add another field, resource manager, timesheet owner, something like that, and that will indicate the person who would populate in this field here. I'm going to go ahead and save. It's going to populate my name in the bookable resource. I'm going to go ahead and add a new timesheet line. So in this area below, I can begin to add new timesheet lines where I can search for the project and then this specific task. This can be customized by security configurations to only show projects and tasks that specific resources are assigned to. Here, resources have the option of seeing other recommended tasks on timesheet after submitting a timesheet line for a given project. So let's go ahead and search for this one. I can select enter here and it'll give me some suggested tasks in alphabetical order. Now the system is going to, since I added this one, it can either add just this line or it can add other lines by recommendations for the project as well. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and submit my time. Let's say I did work on another project as well. As you can see here, it's going to give me my totals, the line total here, and this can also be configured to show at the bottom a line here, the total as well. Now it's going to give me my total up here next to total hours. As you can see here, it was last updated before the time. So when I save this project, it'll automatically go ahead and do my total time. And go ahead and save again. Then I can use this calculator to recalculate automatically. So as you can see here, it's actually 30. As you can see, this timesheet is in progress. When I'm ready to submit it, all I have to do is select submit and yes. So here, resources have the option of seeing other recommended tasks on their timesheet after submitting a timesheet line for a given project. After completing all my hours for tasks completed by day, I can save my timesheet and use this calculator icon to sum the total numbers displayed for the current work period I am in. I'm going to go ahead and submit my timesheet, and then my resource manager will be able to approve it. So it's gone ahead and submitted this for me. So here I can see the timesheet I just submitted, and that it's awaiting approval. Speaking of approvals, I actually have an area as an approver here where I can receive the notification either in Teams or by email. So as we can see here, this is what it would look like. So for example, this is an example of a submitted timesheet here, PDF of what the timesheet looks like. And then here we can see that it was requested, and I can actually either reassign this to someone else for approval. So let's say that for whatever reason, this actually isn't my resource, it needs to go to a different resource manager. I can reject or I can approve, and this is directly from a Teams notification. So this is another way that we can highlight how Teams integration occurs with Project for the Web, which we also have another designated webinar over as well. So I'm going to go ahead and reassign this. And I'm going to go ahead and give it to Mia. So now this approval will be in Mia's timesheets, or is in Mia's court. From the approval section here in Project for, I'm sorry, in Teams, from approvals right here, I can see approvals for all kinds of different types of work. New project work requested. I can also, if I'm in the right environment here, I can see previous ones that were submitted to. So Stella submitted a timesheet, approved. Erin Boyle submitted a timesheet here. I approved her timesheet. I can save this as a PDF if I wanted to. I can see when that was canceled. And other timesheet requests as well. I can filter this by name. So timesheet in my approvals to show me just timesheet ones related. In Project for the Web, there are other types of approvals like change request approvals that can be configured. And this is one location within Teams where I can directly see all of my approvals and approve directly from Teams as well. There's also the option to approve via email. We find that most people like to have the option of both, depending on the frequency of how often they expect to be approving these timesheets. So I know that was quite a lot today. So just taking a step back, we took a look at how we can create a project in Project for the Web by going to new project. And here are the projects that we specifically looked at. We looked at how we can create a new project. We built a schedule in Project for the Web as well from scratch. We create some summary tasks, rearranged our view, assigned tasks to resources, looked at how the people view and assignments view can be utilized, which, by the way, for those of you familiar with Project Online, the assignments view is very similar to the resource usage view. We also looked at the timesheets app. We also took a look at the resources here and how this view can be set up or configured, and how resource management can also be set up directly in Project for the Web to account for time off. We looked at how approvals can be done through the timesheet app or through Teams for submitted timesheets using the Canvas app or the model-driven app. Looked at some views, and this view that I did with the update of the view can also be applied to project views as well, as you can see here. And then we also took a look at some of our resource reports and our timesheet reports as well. So I know that was a lot of information. So I'm hoping, does anyone have any questions? It doesn't even have to be about like, project for the web specifically. It could be about apps or just anything that we can do to configure help with resource management compared to what tools you're currently using.
Thanks, Stella.
Thanks, Stella. Great job. And please reach out anybody for your own customized demo or consultation call.